Hi guys, my name is John Michael Reyes and we are here on the chapter 11, build a small network, and we are going to answer all the activities here at chapter 11. So let's try to answer this first one, the activity part 1, security threats and vulnerabilities. Then so you can see we will try to drag each scenario to its corresponding type of security threats. These are the security threats. There are four: the information theft, identity theft, data loss, manipulation, and disruption of service. So let's try. Then sending a virus to reformat a hard drive. As you can see, if you in this choice, the context clues is reformat a hard drive, because if you reformat a hard drive, that would be in a data loss. So this one would go here at the data loss and manipulation. Then preventing legal users from accessing data service, and from this choice, the virus prevents the users from accessing data service. That would go to disruption of service, or disruption of service is also called denial of service attack. And as you can see, it prevents legal users from accessing data, so it would go here. Then stealing a company's user database, this would go in the information theft, because of the its company's users database. It should known only for the clients and other stuff, not for all the people. That's why stealing a company's user database will be in the information theft. Then making illegal online purchases, that would be a identity theft, because someone is using your account and you doesn't know who they are, and they are somewhat making illegal online purchases. That's why it's will go to identity theft. Then altering data records. The other term or the synonyms of altering is somewhat manipulation, or manipulating something, or manipulating data records. So this one would go to data loss manipulation. Then stealing specific research report is somewhat stealing. It's here in the information theft, because stealing scientific research report is going to be an information theft, because you are stealing something important to other people and other clients. So it would go here. Then overloading a network to keep user out, then that would be in disruption of service, because as you can see, there's the context phrase in here, a network to keep users out. That would be a denial of service again. Then impersonating someone to obtain credit, that would go to identity theft. Then so you can see all our answers are correct. Then let's proceed to part 2. The part 2 is the drug each management practice to appropriate security management type. So the first one is label critical cable and components. That would be here in the maintenance, because in maintenance you always need to label all the cables and other components. Then control access to console port, that would be in maintenance again, because you should control all the access to console the ports, and in order to connect to each other, you should have a maintenance on it. Then create positive airflow, that would be in environmental, because it is somewhat related to that. And install UPS system, I think it's in electrical, because UPS system is I think it's a power unit or something like that. Then control temperature and humidity, that the context clues or the keyword would be temperature and humidity, so it will go to environmental. Then use of security cameras, that would be in hardware, because as you can see, all the things that are in hardware can be tangible. And install redundant power supplies, redundant power supplies that would be in electrical, because as you can see, power supplies are from use electrical currents and other stuff. Then lock up devices prevent unauthorized access that would be in hardware. Then let's check. As you can see, all our answers are correct. Then let's proceed to another activity. And hi guys, and we're back, and this is the second chapter, the types of attack and the attack type and the security scenario. A computer is used as a print server for Acme Inc. The IT staff failed to apply security updates to this computer for over 60 days. Now the print server is operating slowly and sending a high amount of malicious packet to its NIC. So that would be a worm, because as you can see, there are some context clues in here that these two are the print server is operating slowly and sending high amount of malicious packet, because somewhat worms always copy itself and it expands. That's why it sends a high amount of malicious packet. Then Sharon, an IT intern of Acme Inc., noticed some strange packet while revising the security logs generated by the firewall. A handful of IP addresses and internet were sending malformed packet to several different IP address at several different random port numbers inside Acme Inc. So that would be a reconnaissance, because reconnaissance is somewhat for about in IP address and other stuff. That's why the clue here is the malformed packet to several different IP addresses. That's why I choose reconnaissance. Then let's check. So you can see both of them are correct. Then the second one would be Jeremiah was browsing the internet for his several personal computer when a random website offered a pre-program to clean his system. After downloading running the executable, the operating system crashed. Crucial operating system related files had been corrupted, and Jeremiah's computer required a full disk format and operating system reinstallation. That would be a virus. For others, it would be a Trojan horse, because Jeremiah downloaded some file or other executable, but it is clearly a virus because it crashed the computer, and it needs or require a full disk format and a reinstallation of an OS or operating system. That would be a virus. Then Ariana found a flash drive lying on the pavement of mall parking lot. She asked around but couldn't find the owner. She decided to keep it and plug it on her laptop, only to find a photo folder. Feeling curious, Ariana opened a few photos before formatting the flash drive for her own use. Afterwards, Ariana noticed that her laptop's camera was active, and I think that would be a Trojan horse, because a Trojan horse is somewhat in a folder, then the virus are in some type of folder or file. Then after you open it, the virus will start to spread or crash your computer or end device, and it somewhat activates the hacker's perspective. So it would be a Trojan horse. Then let's check. It's kasi we're both correct. Then the part 3, Angela, an IT staff member at Acme Inc., noticed that communication with company web server is very slow. After investigating, she determines that the cause of slow response is due to a computer on the internet sending a very large number of malformed web requests to Acme web server. Then I think that would be denial of service attack, because in denial of service attack, the virus starts to prevent the user from getting into another point or using another end devices. It is somewhat um, giving some other data in order to make the user don't use the application and other thing in the computer. Then the last thing would be access, and let's read first. George needed to share a video with a coworker. Because of the large size of video file, he decided to run a simple FTP server on his workstation to serve a video file to his coworker. To make things easier, George created an account with a simple password file and provided it with to his coworker on Friday. Without the proper security measures or a strong password, the IT staff wasn't surprised to learn on Monday that George's workstation had been compromised and was trying to upload work-related documents to the internet. And as you can see, it would be accessed because of the password. The attack type would be accessed because it is so easy to decrypt a password with just this 4-letter password. It's just a file. That's why passwords are very important in other stuff. So you can see, correct. This is the third activity of the chapter 11, the show commands, and these are the commands and these are the command scenario. You suspect there is a problem with the current switch configuration. You want to see the save configuration so you can compare it with what is currently running. So first of all, that would be a show startup config because of the save configuration. That would be the context clues. Then you are on a call with the Cisco technical assistance personnel. They ask you for the switch iOS name, RAM and VRAM, and flash available. They also ask what the hexadecimal boot location. That would be a show version, because on show version you could see all these things that are asked in here in the question number 2 or in the scenario number 2. Then you are running the EIGRP routing protocol and need to know the update interval and what active interfaces and network are being advised by your router. And that would be I think it's a show IP protocol because of the EIGRP routing protocol. Then you cannot get to the internet. You need to find out your router, but I think it's here. Then show IP route in the EIGRP. That would be a show IP route. Then in the fourth scenario, that would be a show IP protocols because you cannot get to the internet. You need to find out if your router has path to the internet and which protocol are being used to provide the paths. The context clues or the supporting details that I've used in order to come up with the answer show IP protocol is this one, the has a path to the internet and which protocol. They say which protocol, so it would be a show IP protocol command. Then your network documentation really needs to be updated. A quick listing of IP addresses of your router in relation of their MAC addresses would help finish the task for recording purposes. So that would be a show ARP command, because in ARP it lists down all the IP addresses and other stuff, in especially in the IPv6, IPv4 I think. Then the last one would be show IP in brief. A switch is the closest intermediate device to you. It has 24 ports. You want to see a simple list of ports being used, their status, and the VLAN IP address of the switch. The show IP, the int means interface, that's why, and interface is only used in a switch, the VLAN switch. So let's check. As you can see, all the answers are correct. This is the fourth activity, I think, in the chapter 11, the order, the troubleshooting step. The first step would be, we should think is the identify the problem. Then after that, it would be a I think it's we should, because in somewhat in a theory, in a problem you need to establish a theory of probable cause, and after that you should test the theory in order to determine the cause. So that would be the number 3. Then the 4 is I think step 4 or the number 4 would be establish a plan action to resolve the problem, because after you determine a theory, you test all the things or the problem that you can use in order to have the information to implement that solution. Then after that, after the implement the solution, you should verify the full system functionality and implement preventive measures. Then after that, the documentation will begin, document findings, actions, and outcomes. And that's all. I think, yeah, it's all correct.